evening, welcome to Leicester Fan TV. The season is well and truly over now. We're into that bit of the world where there is no football for Leicester for a few weeks. But we wanted to gather some of the Leicester Fan TV content crew together to have a chat with you. And most importantly, we wanted your views. We wanted to reflect on this season, arguably one of Leicester's best ever seasons. But for some of us, myself included, there's just a tinge or two of what ifs and what maybes. So please get your views in, get your comments in, and join us in tonight's special end of season FANZONE show. Yes, indeed. This is Leicester Fan TV. We're all for the fans. We want to know exactly what you think about this season as a whole. When you can reflect on it, we've had 24 hours since we had that massive chance to, winner takes all match against Man United. We didn't take that chance. But the glass half full brigade will be telling us that we have made Europa League, which if you were offered that at the start of the season and said you're going to finish fifth and get Europa League, most of us, myself included, would have took it. The trouble is, we've all tasted the chance of Europe in the Champions League all season, and we want your views on that. We want to know how you feel about Leicester City. Are we going to take this average form into next season, or are we going to kickstart it again? What players do we need to go and buy? Do we need a good summer transfer window? We want all your views in there. Bailey says disappointed, but still very happy. Sean, good evening to you. Get your views in. Chris Foreign from Leicester Till I Die, hopefully joining us at 8 o'clock, says, Leon, I had 4 and 4 was too many. He's talking to Chappers there. LCFC Grey watching on YouTube. Don't forget we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope and Twitter. LCFC Grey says we lack so much quality in the final third and ultimately it has cost us, which is hard to say in some ways, LCFC Grey, when Jamie Vardy has scored 23 goals and it is the golden boot of the Premier League. Mirko watching out in Holland. Mirko, perhaps we're coming out. We could be playing PSV Eindhoven. I've been looking at all the teams today that are in the Europa League. There's some teams we know: AC Milan, AS Roma, Nice. And there's some teams I have never heard of. And I thought my football knowledge was quite good. There's some countries I've never heard of, let alone cities. So keep getting your comments in there. Mirko said he's proud of the team. We missed 4 key players in the last game, which perhaps, Mirko, do you feel that shows the lack of depth? Matthew Bond says, upside down season. If it had happened the other way round, the best form at the end of the season, I'd have been delighted. I agree. If we'd been in the bottom half of the table at Christmas, and then we came on to finish 5th, we'd have loved it. But it wasn't that way round, was it, Matty? Chappers says, I'd say the injuries have cost us too. Jason says, if you said we'd finish 5th at the start of the season, would take it. But can't hide the fact we messed it up for top 4. We never got players in January. That is, again, one of the big topics. January transfer window. I'm going to add in some of the content, guys. You know them so well now from this season. That's Jamie from the Fox's Arms. Good evening, Jamie.
Evening, all. Evening, how are we? Are we good?
Good. Yes, thanks, Jamie. I'm going to add in as well Tom, who helps run the Fox's Tale shows and is often on there. Tom, I'm introducing you guys as though people haven't got the foggiest who anybody is, but everybody knows who you two are. And who? And
no one might know me soon.
Well, yeah, Josh as well, who does the shows on Thursday nights with Locks. Good evening. We'll try and get as many fans' comments in as we can as possible. Mark Gatwood is saying we missed 5 players. I don't know whether you want to start at the end of the season, lads, or if you want to start at the beginning of the season. I'm going to start with Tom, who's regularly on. Good season, bad season, happy?
I think if you describe it as a game of football, I think quite a bit the second season was. We had one good half and then one poor half, and I think that's probably what cost us towards the end. I think Brendan got it right. We weren't consistent enough in the final part of the season. Can we answer why? I don't know, because the first half, the 8-game winning streak, the best we'd done in the record, winning 8 Premier League games in a row, was fantastic. And then we came unstuck at home to Norwich, and it all fell apart from that game onwards. But for me, you said yesterday, Phil, I was very laid back before the game. I was, because I knew whatever happens, we were in Europe. Whatever happens, we were in a European competition. And start of the season, I know they said it, well, that's what we went for. Well, we've got it. And I also look and think, do you know what? How would we have done next year in the Champions League if we'd got there? And with the squad of players we've got, I don't think we would have done as well as we did the first time round, because if we continued to form into that league, it would have been difficult. But there's records been broken again by the club. Jamie Vardy, oldest Golden Boot winner. Congratulations to him. Fully deserves it. And now that's another monkey off his back. He ain't got to worry about another Golden Boot unless he really wants to go and win a second. He's got his 100 goals in the Premier League. Another one off his back going into the new season. And it's time to regroup. I think that's the biggest message, Brendan, go out to everyone. It's regroup. There is disappointments. Don't get me wrong. I think if you're 14 points clear at any point in the season, you shouldn't really be able to claw that back for me and miss out on the Champions League. But on the other hand, we're fifth and behind three very, very big teams in the league. You know, Liverpool, Chelsea, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United, and Man City, four big teams, but finished behind with bigger budgets than we'll ever have in our time. Getting there.
Jamie, you live in Europe. We don't want to talk too much about Alcudia.
No, not really. Not at the minute.
Times, obviously, we wish you the best out there, mate. But
well, let's talk about football. Phil's gone. Let's talk about football. Can't hear Phil. Oh, got you now.
Jamie, you'd have took fifth place at the start of the season and been chuffed to bits with that. But why are some of us, myself included, feeling a bit down today?
Yeah, I'm on you the same way, Phil. I'm feeling a bit disappointed. More to do with the football than anything else. Look, we're in Europe. We were going to be in Europe before yesterday's game anyway. With the top club in the Midlands, which is a bit of bragging rights for the Midlands. But I think we've let a standard slip quite drastically. And have we let the owners down with their ambitions by not qualifying in the Champions League? I saw a comment earlier. Would have got stuffed in the Champions League. Would we? Well, maybe it's meant to be in the Whipping Boys last time in the Champions League. And also, just point on what Tom was saying. In Brendan Rodgers' first 26 games, we got 55 points. And then we got to the Norwich game. And then since then, we've only got 27 points in 23 games. That's a drop. Before it was 2.1 points per game. Now it's only 1.1 per game. That's a huge difference. And the performances fell down. God knows why, but it's just disappointing that we were so good. As good as we were the first half was as bad as what we were in the second half of the season. I don't know why. And also as well, being the Champions League, it would have been Morgan and Evans and Kasper and Vardy, Albright. It would have been their last chance for one last hurrah in the Champions League. And I think they've let themselves down. The performance is slipped. I really do. So, yeah, disappointed. Like Tom, relax because we're already in the Europa League, but disappointed because they didn't push on. They had points in the restart. We had chances to get the points to do it. It's just disappointing.
Mark Gatwood says here, and I think this is what I've been reflecting on today, is partly because the Champions League was there in our grasp, Josh. It really was. It was ours to lose, and we did lose it. And again, I want us to be positive tonight, but Mark Gatwood says here, Champions League, so much revenue gone, which there will be. It is a massive financial difference. Better choice of players gone. And what happens if this form carries on, Josh? What's your take on what's happened?
Yeah, I completely agree with what Tom and Jamie both said. It's really a season of two halves. I really don't understand how it's gone from so good to so bad. And just like the comment mentioned there, not getting Champions League is just going to have a massive impact financially as well for me, and the players we can attract as well. I just can't really work out how we slipped away. Yeah, at the start of the season, I would have been chuffed to bits finishing fifth in the Premier League, but we have to move on. We have to think we were third for some points of the season in like October, 8 games wins in a row or something, and now we've got 9 points since football's returned, I think. So it's just crazy to see how we've gone from there to there. I don't understand it.
You see, I think, guys, and I'll come back to Tom on this, I think we've got a nice balance between the four of us here because we've got different eras of watching football. And it's great to have Josh on because he comes from the era where the expectation as a Leicester City fan is higher, Tom. And that is more than fair enough. Just because Myself and Jamie are same era from the 70s and 80s, and I know you're a little bit after that, Tom.
Hold on, Jamie's not that old, is he?
I'm not that old.
Cheers, Tom. You are from the 70s and 80s. Not
yeah, me and Phil are old school. Me and Phil are old school, Tom, compared to you two young whippersnappers.
Tom, I find it easy having watched 40-something years of it to say 5th in the Premier League. This is amazing. But I get it from people like Josh. And I've got 2 teenage lads who are the same, who are like, we have screwed this season up by not getting that. We have this massive chance to take Champions League, and we didn't do it. So I'm not saying it's an age thing. I think it's a mentality thing, isn't it? And if we want to be top 5, Tom.
Look, I'm with you. Look, I grew up watching, Brian Little, McGee, O'Neill, then going through a very, very hard period as you boys were. Well, Craig Levine, Ian Holloway, relegation, the club
Peter Taylor,
club going into administration, and that season we went into administration. It hurt. My football club, didn't know I'd ever be able to see again at one point, thinking we actually might go bust. So the newer generation have only seen the success and probably have got a higher expectation than the likes of me, you, Jamie. It does, you're a bit more appreciated to see where we are now to where we was back in the day of a yo-yo team after O'Neill left us and Taylor was in charge, and then promotion, relegation. It does probably put a bit more of a perspective that you appreciate. Look, we're 5th, little old Leicester, and some people hate that saying. I like that saying, little old Leicester, because we are the underdogs. We are the team who fights to get anywhere. Leicester, for me, if you're a player and you get the opportunity to be going Leicester or Chelsea, Leicester never in the ball bag at any time for that. They're never going to have that appeal to some players to come to us. So we have to try and go around it different ways. And one way is getting European football. Now, a few of the comments saying, we won't get the players we could have got. To be honest with you, that's life. But there is still enough quality players that are willing to come who might not play Champions League football every week or get into their squads and think, well, I could go Leicester and play Europa Cup and get my name back into that European market by playing for them week in, week out. There's still players we can go out and get in this summer and strengthen the team. For me, the season overall, I think it showed our weaknesses towards the end. People put on there yesterday, we didn't test Man United. I think yesterday, if you look at the chances we had, we didn't take them. Nacho threw on goal. He needs to slide Vardy in, or he slides the other way. He then kicks it on his right foot, 1-0 for me. That should be a goal for me there. Wes Morgan, centre half. It's not the play you want in the box, but he's trying a half volley in the air and completely misses it. It was the little things yesterday that we just, didn't get right for me. I don't think we were outplayed. I don't really think we, had a bad game yesterday. I just think it was another one of those games, what we've said too much in the back half of the season. We haven't taken our chances and other teams have punished us, and we then sadly just couldn't get back into the games. Where do we go from here? Well, you push on again. You've got to strengthen and you've got to rebuild. And I think, if you're honest, James Maddison hasn't had the best of season this year. Even up to the point he got injured, I don't think we've seen the form that we saw last year from him. Someone was saying earlier he hadn't created a goal for Vardy since November. Well, that says it all. If you created players not creating it for your goal scorer, you're going to struggle. Biggest thing for me, go and get a striker. Go and get a striker. Vardy's now on his, last couple of seasons at the football club for me, and you've got to now be looking at plan B. And people say, well, where's this all coming from? Well, if you listen to the radio, most radio stations said it. We've built teams around Vardy, Casper, Wes Morgan. We've got to start moving on now from that title-winning season if you want to be pushing for Champions League and getting better players in and replacing the ones we've got.
Jamie, I'm being a bit cat amongst the pigeons here. Are we bottlers? Did we bottle this season? Did we bottle the League Cup semi-final against a rubbish Villa side? Did we bottle the FA Cup at home against Chelsea when we had the chances? Did we bottle the Champions League? I'm asking that as a question.
I'm not sure it was like Spurs when they bottled it completely. I think it was a bit more complacency, to be honest. I think they thought they'd got it in the bag, especially that semi-final against Villa. I think they just thought they'd got it, and then I think it just set in, and the rot set in from there. And I don't think we bottled it. I think we just thought, well, we've got it anyway. I thought the players just were too complacent. They took every game too lightly. instead of the old-fashioned, you take one game at a time. It sounds boring. You take one game at a time and you build and you get consistency. But we just were a bit too complacent, to be honest. That's all. I don't think we bottled it. I just think we didn't do the right things, the basic things right. And I think that's what causes the problems. Because we made Man U look good yesterday.
Yes, they didn't have a great game, did they, Man U, yesterday? And we did. And I'm going to go to people's comments in a minute and get some of theirs in there. Josh, question to you. January transfer window, just as an example, we all know Man United went out and splashed 60 million on Fernandes, what's his face, who played average yesterday but still scored the penalty. We went out and loaned in Ryan Bennett. And I'm going to say that probably, I don't think it's even hindsight, because I think at the time we were all saying that's not going to help you push on to Champions League, is it? Josh, what's your feeling on the January transfer window?
Yeah, it's just...
Sorry.
No, for me, obviously, Ryan Bennett, we really need to get out there and sign some more experienced players. But
I'm not laughing at you, Josh. That comment.
No. Yeah, honestly, I think in the position we had in the Champions League at the time in January, if we could, I think we would have attracted some players if we went out there. And to only bring in Bennett on loan, who, to be perfectly honest, to Bennett, obviously he's quite old. He's getting to the latter ages of his career. And it's another transfer window which I think we've done really poor in. Same thing after we won the league, in my opinion. Obviously, we won the league, we got the money, and that transfer window was poor again. So overall, I think the January transfer window was a big moment in the season. But overall, Brian Bennett, the only signing, I just don't really understand
it. It's Phil.
Go on, Bennett.
You like that? Just type that one in.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, Josh. Do you know who Gordon Bennett is, Josh?
No, I get it now.
There's a lot of comments coming up about Brendan Rodgers saying he's a nearly man and stuff. Are people losing faith in him, or?
Yeah, I mean Ben Morgan's up there, and I'm gonna read out a few comments. Ben is quite contentious with his. He does like to stir a hornet's nest, but he is entitled to his opinion. He is a Leicester fan. He says he got slaughtered yesterday for saying, but is Brendan a nearly man? I guess I'm just going to ask that to the guys. I'm going to add in Locks as well from this, who's joined us. Let's start with you, Locks, if you can hear us. Thanks.
Better late than never, pal.
What's that?
Better late than never.
I've been waiting.
He was doing his hair by the looks of it.
Yeah.
At least he's got some hair, Tom, unlike us two.
Locks, is Brendan Rodgers a nearly man? Ben Morgan is saying he got slaughtered for it yesterday. I personally, I think it's hard to lay into Brendan Rodgers after he's delivered fifth for us, but what's your views? A lot of chat about him.
Like you said, obviously everyone's got they're entitled to their opinion. Obviously, like you said, I agree with Ben. Likes to stir stuff up every now and then, but once again, you've got you're entitled to it. And earlier on in the season there were quite a few Liverpool fans warning us actually, saying because I think Brendan Rodgers actually came out at one interview and says that his teams are better in the second half of the season. And I think a few Liverpool fans kind of just tried to tell us that's not really the case, but. Yeah, look, there's always going to be fans who there's always going to be an in brigade and an out brigade. And I think I'm still in, but I've got to be careful what I say that. But
sounds like you're doing the okey-coke.
Yeah, I was thinking something else, but that shows you.
Yeah.
Locks,
pretty much.
You get back in there and tell us more.
Are you sure? No, pretty much. I think. Obviously, I'm still with Brendan. I think we should be for now. Give him this transfer window to strengthen the squad, see what he can do. I think if we make a poor start to next season, hopefully we don't, but if we did, I think then his job actually might then be on the line. But I have faith that we're going to strengthen the squad and the squad depth, and we can go again and push for top 4 next year.
Tom, you're nodding with that. Do you feel a bad start could see pressure?
I could see the pressure build on him, but again, like I say, you can't do anything to first 10 games. We saw that this season, two draws, and then we finally got the win under the belt. First couple of games, probably it was the start of the season, how we finished the season. You know, the Wolves game at home, we were lucky to win that game. For me, they had a goal disallowed wrongly, VAR's first game and all that, never handball, and Wolves should have won that game. We then went to Chelsea, first half, gave them a goal. Second half, we were by far the better team and battered them. We should have won that game. Then we get the win against Sheffield United. I said at the beginning of the season, you've got to give a manager 10 games because that's how your teams are settling into the season. After 10 games, you know where you're roughly going to be going. You're either going to be fighting relegation after 10 games, and you know that's for a fact, we've seen it, or you're mid-table, you're pushing up that league, or you could be pushing for the Champions like we were after 10 games. We had that great winning run, what pushed us up. Brendan, for me, great first season. As much as it hurts, it is hurting. Of course it does. We were so close again to get a Champions League. You know, if you look at the points we dropped to Watford, 2 points there. The Bournemouth game, we should have won that game comfortably. There was no contest for me at half time. There's the 5 points. That's the Champions League football guaranteed. It doesn't come down to the last game. There is times I question his substitution. I questioned it yesterday. Nacho was causing them problems.
Why did he take Nacho off? Nacho was brilliant.
I agree. There's times I do question his substitutions. I then understand he's trying to freshen it up. But I'm sorry, when you're in a game like that and it's 0-0 and he's causing the most problems, even if he wasn't have the best of games at striking the ball yesterday, he fluffed a few. At least you felt that he was creating chances for Vardy or Barnes when he came on. He looked like we were going to do something with him on the pitch. For me, you just got to get behind him now. We can't keep chopping and changing managers, and hoping that we'll get some momentum again like we did. We got rid of Craig Shakespeare. We brought in Pure. We got a reaction and finished 9th. We then have a poor start. We sacked Pure. We bring in Rodgers. We had a good end, a good first half of the season. Not so great second half. Can't keep sacking managers if you want to build. But we'll end up being like a Watford at the end of the day. And I don't mean that in a bad way. You keep changing managers. You keep changing the squad. You keep changing how you want to play. I know Brendan Rodgers has a plan B, but also at the moment, until Rodgers can go and find that striker he wants to fit with Vardy and take Vardy's place, he's always going to struggle at the moment. As much as I love Nacho, is he the full-on replacement in a game? Not for me at the moment.
Yeah, Josh, I'm going to ask you this question now. Go on, Jamie. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that Chris Guttridge comment there about the depth in squad. People are moaning about. It's true. I don't think we've got the depth in squad like some of the bigger squads have. It's like the Man U, the Chelsea, the Liverpools. Since these 9 substitutes, you're allowed to have 9 substitutes and 5 come on. That's made a huge difference to the big clubs more than us. I think we haven't got. It showed yesterday. I know we had 6 out. It showed 5 out. Sorry, didn't have the strength in depth at all. That's where other big clubs have the strength in depth.
I mean, Josh, the reverse of this is we're going to have a bit of a summer clear out. I've lost track of players who Leicester City own, but that aren't in the squad, Josh. And obviously, I'm talking about people Slimani and Silva, Gazelle. Anybody else shout out any players? Benkovic that we own?
Diabate, is he still with us?
No one knows.
Yeah, Diabate's still with us. James is still with us. You know,
James was on the bench yesterday, wasn't it?
I just think you got to look at James and think, is he going to play enough games to justify paying that kind of money? 45 grand a week, I think he's on it. We're paying a player that kind of money. You know, you got to be justifying him being in the squad, and that's 45 grand we could be putting someone else's wages. Even if that player's on 80,000, you found half his wages. That's where the club got to be more clever. And I think Top will be looking at it and going, right, where we got to go get rid of some of these players to bring in more players. And it isn't as easy as it's going to be, but it also, I mean, you might lose one of the talented stars. And for me, if someone said, that's Chilwell goes. I don't think we're in a position where we can financially just go out and buy 4 or 5 players at 40, 50, 60 million and carry on the way we are. We're not. You've got to sell to buy. We aren't a club who's got the money and resources to buy those type of players like Man United, Chelsea and Arsenal, and not even got to worry about where the money's coming from because they've got the money.
Ian Miles is asking, is Kaputska still with us? I actually don't know if we still own Kaputska or not.
Yes, we do. We do.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah. But he's not in the 25-man squad, is he?
I think he's on loan, isn't he?
No, he's still at the club.
He came back with an injury last week.
Came back. Yeah.
He was back training, but he isn't in the squad.
Yeah. I mean, Josh, I was coming to you there. This summer transfers is going to be everybody's going to say it's important, but I think there's quite a lot of players who need to be moved on, and we might struggle with that, Josh.
Yeah, it's huge in both aspects, in my opinion. The amount of deadwood we have in the squad, to be honest, we need to clear that out. And because we're in the Europa League, especially Thursday and Sunday, we need to really invest in some experienced European players who can maybe play in the Europa League. Then we need to have the squad depth to have players in the Premier League. Because if you don't get the squad depth, they're going to really struggle in the Premier League if we take the Europa League really seriously. We saw with Burnley the other year when they got in the Europa League, they only just stayed up in the Premier League. So this transfer window is massive. Like I said, we need to offload a load of the deadwood players. We have to move on as a club now. People like Matty James in there, we just simply have to get rid of him. No disrespect, he's been a brilliant player, but we have to move on. We need to get the money and seriously invest in some more experienced players if you want to compete next season. Because if you don't, I really think we'll struggle in the Premier League.
Tom, you look like you were going to say something.
I'll just read that one there. Someone's just put Ings, Sarr, Antonio. Where's he gone? Would be great.
Antonio, wouldn't he be a good player?
You know,
from West Ham. Oh,
I've seen a lot of chat over the last few days about, and a lot of forums, and it does bug me when everyone goes, "Who do we go and get from the relegation teams?" Why should we go and pick from relegation fodder? They've gone down for a reason. We got lucky. We got a Maguire at the time. We got a very good buy in Maguire when he got relegated. But that doesn't always work out every single time. I mean, everyone keeps going about Sarr at Watford. He's had one good game against Liverpool, and he's been a well beater. Since the Liverpool games, like 10 games, he's not created one goal. That's not the kind of player we need to sign. We've got one of them in Damari Gray, doesn't do enough for play. So what's the point of going signing a player like that? We're only going to sign wingers. Antonio is a proven winger that he can do. Play as a second striker and a winger. There's better players. I mean, if you're going to be honest, there's only one player at the moment who I'd go out in the Premier relegation battle who's gone down, who I think's talented young player, Brooks. He's the only one at me out of that, Brooks at Bournemouth, who I think's got such potential, more than I've seen from Barnes. As much as Barnes has been good, the talent's that young lad who's played 25 caps now, is it something for Wales as well? That tells you what kind of player he is at that young age of 19, playing for Wales most weeks. They're the kind of players you were going out and get if you want to push on.
I'm gonna come to Chris. Welcome, Chris from Leicester Till I Die. Chris, first of all, I've got a question for you straight in from the Blue Van Man who's watching over on YouTube. Thanks for watching, Dave. He says, we have money. Our owners are the fourth richest in the Premier League. If Man City can beat the fair play rules, why can't we? Chris, Leicester City, we have got...
Oh,
it's me. That's me pressing the wrong buttons.
Oh.
We haven't.
If you don't want to
turn my phone off as well.
If you don't want to speak to me, mate, just say why invite me, and then don't speak to me. You know.
I'm trying not to laugh. I've just been told to get in the bin, apparently. Oh well, sorry, can't please everyone on this channel, but hey, we're all allowed opinions.
Chris, we Leicester City have got money, but we are, I think, a little bit underspending over the last year or two. If you look at the league table of spending, I know we've had net money coming in with obviously Mahrez and Harry Maguire, Chris, but we haven't exactly splashed the cash in a net basis, if that makes sense to you, Chris. Do you think now's the time?
I don't know if you need to splash the cash. You've got to be so careful. I mean, post Ranieri, I mean, how many players that he went out on board have we still got in the team? You know, how many of them have really, really done well or kept? You do get into a point, if you're not careful, where you go out and you buy for the sake of buying. And I think long gone are the days when we had sort of Shaky and Walsh and what have you that could. We used to get some gems, didn't we? And I think just splashing the cash for the sake of it is wrong. And it annoys me when I see, you know, these fans sort of going like, oh, we're looking at this player from, I don't know, like Tom's just said, you know, a relegated club. But, you know, you're looking at sort of players from championship teams or League One teams, and they're saying we should be doing better than that. Not necessarily, you know, don't go out and spend however many million on Slimani and then, you know, he's a flop. How many on Musa? And he was never played. It's about getting the right players in, not just splashing the cash.
Do you think?
I agree. Go on, James.
I was going to say about money-wise and how much we've got to spend. Because the King Power are like duty-free, and with what the coronavirus and stuff like that, do you think that they're not going to have the same amount of money as what they've had over the last few years? with what's going on with the travel industry. Do you think that might affect us at all?
I must have.
Yeah.
I did see one comment over the weekend about that. I'll come to you, Tom. One comment by one person, and I thought it was very astute of them to notice that, Tom, that it could be having a big effect on them.
Oh, two things you got to look at. There's a proven point here. Let me just pop it up so I feel. £100 million training ground. That's got to be paid for somehow. And I know we've got a loan against it, but loans have to be replayed. And at the moment, we're not filling the KP. So obviously, there's no money coming from fans going into the ground. They've had to pay fans back who's asked for refunds. So there's a loss on the football club already. This transfer window for me it's not just Leicester. There's going to be a lot of clubs who aren't going to have the money to spend on big players this summer because of things we're doing. Talking about a new stand on the stadium, a new extension. That's the money's got to come from somewhere. And it's not saying we get loans, but these loans have to be repaid at some point. So the club are going to always be sensible while trying to progress, that we don't end up getting in a mess like Portsmouth and massive debts against the club. I think last year we didn't make a profit of the football club really. So there is money there for transfers. I believe there will be, but I think it won't be the kind of money we spent last year, like 40 million on Tillemans. I think you might get players for 25, 30 million. But you're only going to get one or two of them unless you really sell one of your prize assets to bring some more in. For me, he's got to go look and find some gems, and we've done it in the past. We've found Mahrez, we found Knockout, we found Jamie Vardy, £1 million. Who would have thought he'd gone and done what he's done in his career at Leicester? So they are out there, but the club's got to be sensible as well as in going gun ho. And this probably where it comes in, as you said earlier, Phil, the age gap between some of the younger generation and the older generation is the expectation levels. Completely different, where we understand that a little bit more where the club has got to go for.
Chris, do you want to pick up on that?
Yeah, I was just going on that as well. Is do you go out and spend 40 million or whatever on Slimani, and does he really want to pay for the club, or do you pay a hell of a lot less, get somebody like James Justin in, who's a young English player that's got the hunger and is going to fit into our club, a lot better? I think, like Tom's just said, it's not a case of what you buy or who you buy. It's where you buy them from and getting them for the right price.
Yeah, absolutely. Go on, Jamie.
I was going to say, you're saying about the money. I just mentioned that about King Power not having the money. Ben Chilwell, what do you think to that? Do you think Thomas? Because I think Thomas has been outstanding in the 3 games. Over the 3 games he's played, I think he's been in man of match twice. He had a cracking game yesterday. Do you think we could sell Chilwell and then put Thomas there and make the money, or do we still need to have Chilwell there?
If we're in the Europa League next year, we want a squad and we want our best players. And yeah, Thomas is great, but if we get rid of Chilwell and put Thomas in, who do we put in if Thomas gets injured or is out at the time?
Well, I guess you would.
And if we're playing Thursdays and Sundays, we've got to have these that we can.
Yeah, but then if we get 50, 60 million for Chilwell, we've got 50, 60 million. But where will that go though? That's the thing. Will it go on loans or will it go on players?
I think one of my understandings is if you want to play twice a week in Europe and in the Premier League and be fairly competitive in them both, which is what Leicester want to be. If we were to have a real stab in the Europa League, I think fans a bit like Wolves would probably accept a slightly dip in the Premier League if you got down to the last 16 or something of the Europa League. But you need my understanding is you need 2 quality players for every position to be really trying to compete at that level. I'm going to ask Locks and then Josh, have we just unearthed a couple of young gems right at the end of the season in Luke Thomas and Hurst as well? Locks, let's start with you.
Yeah, I just want to quickly go back to the Chilwell and Thomas thing. I think we don't need to sell. We don't need to sell Chilwell, but I do see them maybe go in for the same kind of tactic they did with Maguire last summer. I think we'll probably slap a hefty price tag on him, and if they go out and meet that, then I think we'll let him go. If we're asking for 60 million, 70 million, whatever it's going to be for Chilwell, and Chelsea got and pay that, I think they'll just accept that and they'll be happy with that. They'll be happy with that money. Especially in the financial problems we've just spoke about, obviously with King Power and the new training ground and all of that. Do I think Thomas is ready to be our starting left back in Premier League and Europa League next season. I don't think he is. We've seen 3 games with him in, and like you mentioned, in 2 of them he was outstanding. Obviously in the Spurs game, a couple of errors, but so did the rest of the squad. I think we need, if we're getting rid of Chilwell, we need another left back in. We've got Fuchs, who we all know can come in and do a job, but he's getting older by the minute. It's probably going to be his last season next year, so I think we definitely need to bring someone in if Chilwell goes.
I've got a few. I'm going to ask this to Josh after this. I've just popped up a few comments there, Josh. Do you see, and anybody else can answer this, but Josh, have a go at this first. Do you see any surprise or shock selling from the club this summer? Not for any reason, just I think we wouldn't all be surprised if Ben Chilwell went, but a few people saying, I hope we keep hold of Ricardo Pereira. There's rumours of Maddison signing a whopping new contract. And then somebody's just put in there even rumours of Liverpool being interested in Harvey Barnes. Josh, is there anybody you would fear or think, actually, I wouldn't want to see it? Somebody else has mentioned Perez as well in there, that could leave, who would be what most of us class would sort of first-team players.
Yeah, I think the one player I'm really concerned about is probably Ricardo for me. We've seen how much we missed him down the right-hand side. And with us not getting Champions League, I think Ricardo, for me, is the main player I'm concerned about leaving. If Chilwell goes, I think it is what it is. If we stick an 80 million price on him, just like we've said, 80 million, that's going to be massive for us because of obviously the pandemic. But overall, potentially, I think James Maddison's going to stay. Other players, I can't really see too many people going. Maybe Wilfred Ndidi, but I'm quite confident that most of the players will stay, but the only real player I can see potentially going is probably Ricardo, in my opinion, which is not good.
I was just going to say, Phil. Sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say. I think Ricardo's injury has kept him at the club for now. I don't see a club coming for now. I don't see a club buying him in this window. I think if we make a poor start to the season, January, who knows? He could be gone. But I think we've got him until at least January now, just because of his injury.
Tom, a lot of people talking about Ndidi as well. He quietly goes about being fantastic, doesn't he, Tom? Ndidi. Would there be fear that somebody might think, "Hang on, this guy is one of Europe's best defensive midfielders, and we should have him not just in the Premier League"?
Again, the squad in general has got to be strengthened. So you're not going to try and sell players if we don't have to. Unless silly money comes in, and we've seen it, the club will only sell players for silly money. So I'm not too worried unless we get silly money for these players, then they might leave. And of course, you then have to replace them. If I'm honest with you, centre midfield is one area that concerns me. Not because of the lack of quality we've got in there. We haven't got a general. We haven't got a leader, someone who's actually pulls at the sleeve and grabs a game by the scruff of the neck. Love Ndidi. Great ball winner and does the job. But sometimes you just want someone who's in there who ain't scared to chuck his foot in on someone and leave a stud mark on someone. Someone who's going to run through and smash someone in the back to win a header. And I mean, I know the gone days of Vinnie Jones and all that, but just we're going into a European campaign, and I think we're too nice. And it's a horrible thing to say about your football club, but we've got all nice players. We haven't got anyone a bit aggressive. You know, we had Robert Huth, Morgan at the back. You know, no one went near them. Weslowski, forearmed Diego Costa for fun. These are the players. You're missing someone who is a general in that midfield some days, where, especially going into 2 games a week for, 4 or 5 weeks of the season over October, November time in the group stages, you're going to have to mix that team around more than he's done at the moment. And that will see where Brendan is tactically and be able to keep the team going if you're playing 2 games a week. So keep on Diddy by far, but I think there's games where you need someone next to him. Dennis Pratt, he's probably up there, the only one for me who's not scared to get his foot stuck in, but again, probably a bit nice at times. You just, for me, go out and find someone, a veteran of Europe, even if it's silly, a 31, 32-year-old midfielder who's played in Europe for 4 or 5 years in his good days, but isn't bothered about coming and starting every week in the Premier League, but might be there when you need him in Europe, like a Cambiasso for me, who comes in and goes, no, I'm not going to play any week, but I've got that little bit of quality, a little bit of nous about the European stage, what we're probably going to need this year.
Chris, go on, Jamie, go on.
I was just going to say, quickly on that point, before we go to Chris, there's no passion, there's no fight. 4 years ago, when we won the league, there was passion and there was fight. When we were down in the dumps, 2-0 down, we would come back, we would fight for it, there was passion. It's gone. There is nothing at all like that now at all. Where's the leading characters of the club? Where's that leader that we've got? Because Wes and Casper, as much as I like Wes, as much as I like Casper, they are not the ones that can go in the changing rooms and start throwing teacups. And I don't think they have tea anymore at half time now. But there's nothing like that. There's no leaders or anything anymore.
Jamie, I think you're right. And Chris, I was going to just ask you something along those lines. Is that we've talked all season about not having a midfield general or a leader, and the closest I've seen to passion was, in a way, bad passion at Bournemouth away, and yesterday again against Man United. With the sort of, when you wanted passion, Chris, both Bournemouth and against Man United, it ended up going really wrong. Even Casper at the end there yesterday, I know it really didn't matter by that stage, but it was just, you wonder what, I mean, he's one of the most experienced players at the pitch yesterday. You think, what are you trying to do, take on a defender there? And I agree, you need somebody, if Walshy was there, or Ali Mockland, or somebody to say, Jesus Christ, what are we doing, lads? Chris, are those days gone?
I think there is, and I don't think the game allows it. I mean, I was actually sat watching the game yesterday with my son, and he kept shouting, saying, "For God's sake, this is a contact sport. You can't, look at somebody the wrong way without them falling down and doing a Tom Daly." And I think it is these days. I think players are scared to. But I think it also comes down to the manager. And this is not a criticism of Brendan Rodgers by any stretch of the imagination, but you look at the days when Pearson was in charge. He wasn't scared of getting stuck in with some of the opposition players, was he? He'd have a go himself. But Rodgers seems to stand there, clap his hands, and go. That's all. The passion comes from the leader, the manager. The book stops with the manager, and if he shows a bit of passion, maybe the players will. But yeah, we do need to get some players in there that have got passion. I think this is possibly the most important transfer window coming up in the club's history, because I think if we get this one
every
wrong,
summer, Chris.
No, but if we get this one wrong, I think players will stay with us because they have got some form of European football. So I think they will stay with us and give us that. I say my only one I think we might leave is Chilwell. But if we get this wrong and we don't move forward, or at least stay where we are, and if we're dropping back down to 11th and 12th, we may never get back to this stage again.
But Chris, but straight back at you, Chris. 11th or 12th or top half of the Premier League next season and a really deep run into the Europa League. You'd probably take that, wouldn't you?
11th and 12th isn't top half, though, is it?
No, Phil, it isn't.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying top half. I wouldn't take 11th or 12th, but top half and a really good run in Europa League.
You've got to accept that once you get past the so-called big six, you look at the Evertons and playing like that. Yeah, they have good seasons, they have bad seasons. But what I'm saying is 11th to 12th next season could lead to 14th or 15th the season after, 17th, once you go on that decline. I honestly think so. We've got to get this transfer window right.
Josh,
I think this is where Rodgers is going to earn his money.
Yes, indeed. Josh, you're looking forward to Europa League trips though next season? Have you heard of some of these teams?
No, I mean it's European football at the end of the day, so it's better than nothing, I guess. There's still an improvement. Last 2 seasons we came 9th. That's the way I'm looking at it. We've gone 5th this season. Yes, there's been an improvement. I'm looking forward to playing. I don't know, Azerbaijan away, but no, I'm looking forward to it.
Kazakhstan.
Right, so here's a couple of team names for you. I want you to say where they come from. Okay, let's start with an easy one.
Kazakhstan in February.
Who was that,
Antwerp.
Phil? That's Dutch team, isn't it?
I'm asking you, Jamie, is it?
I think so. Holland, isn't it?
Royal Antwerp.
Oh, no.
Belgium.
Belgium, yes. Not Holland.
Come on, I thought I'd start with easy ones. Galatasaray.
Turkey.
Yeah, TSV Hartberg.
Turkey.
Is it?
Netherlands, Holland.
Austria.
I'm guessing Germany, is it?
Sporting Braga.
Switzerland.
FK
That's the Czech
Rostov.
Republic, isn't it?
SK Rostov.
FK Rostov.
Finland,
Norway, innit?
I think.
Zoira, Luth. I tell you what, lads, good luck pronouncing some of these teams next year.
Azerbaijan.
Luthazan.
Azerbaijan.
I tell you what, I've looked through all the teams in the Europa League today. There really is about 6 or 7 who actually you think, like AS Roma.
Ain't Napoli there?
No,
Yeah.
I don't think. I think,
Napoli
I think
were.
Napoli are Champions League, but we really could go deep into that. Like Wolves are still in it. If we were to have the right sort of squad, Tom, we could go deep into Europe next season, which would be a great achievement. And going back to my question to Chris, I would sacrifice a bit of Premier League form to have a real gunner in Europe because it's something we've only done once before.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, the squad's got to be improved dramatically to do that.
Poll out on my.
Carry on, Chris, Tom. I've lost Tom now.
Hello.
Go on, Tom.
No, you can hear you now, Tom.
The squad's got to improve dramatically if you want to fight on both fronts. We saw that with Burnley. You know, it took the toll on them. You know, they're having to play that 6 games in the group stage or something like that, 5 games. It's a lot different compared to Champions League. The travelling's going to be a lot further than we did in the Champions League with some of the games as well. It's going to take the toll on the boys. It's a different situation. If we want to travel on the both front, you've got to bring some more players in, and not all about too much quality, but enough to be able to play at both levels. You know, well enough to keep the rotation going, and it is going to be about rotation. Rodgers can't expect this team to play a week in on a Thursday and a Sunday and a Thursday and a Sunday every week for 6 weeks. I know he likes to keep it very similar to the team, but that's where if you're in Europe, you've got to change up a lot.
Let's go through, before we finish then, I want a quick go round everybody and say if they think the glass was half full last season to end this. Let's start with you, Locks. You are pleased with last season or not?
For the past few weeks, I've been really annoyed just because of how.
Jamie, turn your hairdryer off, mate.
Who's mowing the lawn?
That's Jamie.
That's Jamie. Sorry, I didn't turn my mic off in time.
Go on, Locks.
Come back to me.
He's gone.
Come on, Locks.
No, that's not what I think
He's
it
gone.
is.
No, I'm all right. Yeah, no, I've been disappointed. Obviously, I think we all have. We've been disappointed at how much we've let ourselves drop off.
Professional, Locks. Professional.
Come on.
But
Okay, great.
but now the season's over. We can't change anything. We've just got to accept what we've got, which is Europa League, and we've got to push on and try and do one better next season. So at the end of the season, now it's over. I'm happy.
Josh, how about you? In a few words.
To be honest, I'm quite happy with it. To be honest, I think European football is still European football at the end of the day, so I'm quite happy.
I'm going to come to you, Tom, after this. I'm going to give you mine. I'm actually disappointed because I've tasted from the beautiful cup that is the Premier League trophy, and I know that we're aiming really high. So after being in the Champions League all that season, and I really wanted to go to Wembley with Leicester to the League Cup final, I would have took 5th at the start of the season, but I am disappointed. Tom, over to you.
Oh, disappointed. Simple as that. You know, we had a great opportunity to get Champions League football. We had 2 great opportunities to get to Wembley finals for me. Your League Cup, mine was the FA Cup. I'd love to see the FA Cup being lifted by Leicester. It's the only cup we have not won in England. So we had a very good opportunity and we blew it when we had the chance against Chelsea. You get a semi-final, then it's anyone's game, especially neutral venue. Where do I look next season? I'd take 5th again. I'll be quite happy to finish 5th. And then I'd say I want a cup final. I want a piece of silverware back at the football club for me. Phil, what are you laughing at?
I'm laughing
Official,
because
Phil.
somebody's just put here. James Hill has just put, Jamie, your pizza is here, be quick. Mark Charles says
Fair
the same.
play.
Ross is saying, Jamie, put 50 cents in your lawnmower. You're getting hammered for this, Jamie.
This
Chris,
all talk
am I
about
bothered?
caskets.
I'm a bothered. No, Chris, let's quickly. Are you disappointed or happy? Or a bit of both?
Bit of both. Obviously disappointed, But I mean, I live in Bournemouth. They've just gone down after 5 years. So, I remember those days, and it's the playoff leg today. I think Fulham are playing someone in the playoffs. We're not having to do that anymore. So overall, 5th, we're in Europe. Yeah, I've got to be happy.
Jamie, what flavour pizza did you get?
Pepperoni it was lovely. The missus is tucking into it now. No, to be honest, on this season, I would have to go, my glass is half empty. We had a good start, bad finish. Even though it's the 5th ever highest finish in the 134-year history, I think we let ourselves down by not getting to the Champions League, by having that 14-point gap on New Year's Day. So my glass is half empty, I'm afraid, unfortunately. Even though I'm halfway to Europe to most of the away games anyway, so I'm all right.
You're halfway to Azerbaijan.
I'm nearly there.
Quick, literally one-word answers. Brendan Rodgers, the man to take us onwards and upwards?
Yes.
Tom?
Well, just looking, Adam Lallana has completed a 3-year deal to Brighton, so there's your first transfer target gone out the window.
That's not the question he asked you.
Just saying. But no, of course,
come on, Tom.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but he's a target that we were going for. So, and considering that he'd played for Brendan at Liverpool, it's another one of that little bit of quality that we talk about when strength and depth, and we've lost him to someone who was fighting relegation. So, a bit disappointed that we haven't got that one over the line, or even
actually, according to Jeff Peters, we were not looking at him. Brendan Rodgers has said we weren't looking at him.
There we go.
That's what Jeff Peters says.
But for Brendan, yeah, he's the man to take us forward. We've moved forward, 5th place in the Premier League. I'm so disappointed that still we're moving in the right directions. We're playing the football that you need to be playing if you want to be playing in Europe, this tippy-tappy. Jamie,
it's a long one-word answer, Tom.
I was just thinking exactly that, Jamie. The one-word answer from Tom. He's going disco. Chris.
Let's all have a party.
It's the end of season party, isn't it?
Exactly.
Chris,
I'll just say, I think.
Words.
Well, first of all, I think Adam Lallana's got family down on the south coast. I think that's possibly what drew him down here.
Yeah.
In one word regarding Brendan, yes, he is, of course. Yeah.
And Locks, are you having a disco with Brendan Rodgers like Tom is or not?
Yeah, I already answered. So yeah,
I know you. Sorry, I meant Josh.
It's Josh.
I meant Josh.
Yeah. One word. Yeah.
Yeah. Jamie, just you can have more than you can have. Yes,
it's all going well.
Jamie, you can have more than one word because you're a lucky boy. If Brendan Rodgers is the man to take us forward, and did things change a little bit when he signed his new contract?
Oh, why'd you ask me that question? Of course it bloody did. I would say, as my one-word answer would be yes-ish. I'm not 100% sure.
Yes-ish.
Yeah, that's a word, isn't it? Yes-ish. And yes, things did change when he signed his new £4 million contract, 5.5-year extension. Yes, things did change. Totally. And we went downhill. Like I said, we've only got 27 points from 23 games since he signed that new contract.
It feels like the end of school disco at the end of the year now. We're losing the plus. What is in your can, Tom? Where is your hat, Tom? What's on your pizza, Jamie? Why does Chris sound like he's got a Hoover in his background whenever he comes on here? There's all these important questions, isn't there?
Where's all the tourists going to come here?
Yeah, when are all the tourists coming back to Spain? A little bud with then a little Coke. Listen, guys.
Chaser.
All in all, it's been a fantastic season. I want to thank all of you for coming on Leicester Fan TV and doing all your bits and bobs. I think everybody's really enjoyed it. Whether it's highs or lows, winning a league, getting relegated, getting nearly to cup finals, getting into Europe, it's been a fantastic season for everybody. So thanks, Jamie, over in the Fox's arms.
One thing, Wednesday night with Tom, and I think you're joining this week, ain't you, Phil?
Stole my show, that.
Oh, sorry, go on then, Tom.
Wednesday night, joining at 7:30 for the Fox's Tale. Thanks, Jamie. Where we have Paul Reed on this week.
Reading.
Reading. Oh, Billy Wiz. Oh, Billy Wiz.
Thanks, Jamie, by the way.
Cheers, pal.
Yes, Paul Reed. Chris, do you remember Paul Reed?
He's gone.
I'm too young. How dare you?
Chris,
He's too young.
Get out, Chris. Chris, thanks for joining us. I'm going to let you go. Your signal seems to be going all over the place.
I think that's just Chris.
Yeah, I think so.
Thanks for having me, guys. Have a good summer.
We'll see you
Cheers,
later.
Chris.
Thanks for Chris over at Leicester Till I Die. Make sure you go and follow him. Locks and Josh.
Take care, guys.
Cheers, mate.
See you, Chris.
He's gone. Locks and Josh. Yes, he has. Locks and Josh, you're doing your Thursday night show. You're starting to look forward to summer transfers and what's going forward, I think. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. And thanks to Jamie, we'll have Ian Hume on with us talking about the season, and as well Owen from Radio Leicester again. So, yeah, it'll be a good one.
Pulling in all the big guns there. Thanks, Locks. Thanks, Josh. And once again, thanks to Jamie and to Tom. Enjoy the Fox's Tales, all the shows that we're going to do. We will be carrying on with content over the summer. There'll be lots of transfer window stuff to talk about. Tom's having a disco. Feel free to go to his disco shed any time of the week. And I'm going to let you guys go while I just finish off with a few fans' comments.
Cheers.
Patrick is saying we're like the Waltons. Thanks for that. Lots and Josh won't have the foggiest what you're on about. Scott says bye. See you soon. Reese, thank you. Yeah, it's the end of season show. We can relax now a little bit. Zab saying thanks, lads. Well done. Hume says Ross Howard. Yes, indeed. He's coming on Thursday. Scott says Jovic, the Ox, Thurgan Hazard. I think that he's already talking about transfers for this season. Mark Charles says great season, lads. Thanks from all of us. Keep the faith. You made us dream chairman. He certainly did.
Josh is having a disco.
Hey, Josh, how are you doing that?
Have to do it.
You two, you can have a disco off. We've lost Jamie. Where's Jamie gone?
Oh,
He's gone back to the bar. Right, listen, lads, I'm going to let you go. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks, everybody, for all your comments, all your likes and shares. Don't forget, I have to do this. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe, please. If you are watching over on Facebook, subscribe and like and share stuff. If you're on Twitter or Periscope, give us a retweet. And again, follow us at Leicester Fan TV, wherever you are. Thanks to all the guys who help us get the equipment, which is the guys, as you can see below. And thanks, everybody, for watching. Yeah, them. We'll see you all on Wednesday night in the Fox's Tale Show with Tom. Cheers, everybody. Thanks, everybody. The season's over. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for all your comments. We really appreciate it. From me, Phil, Leicester Fan TV. See you very, very soon.